Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Manzur Ahmad Ganai, lecturer history. Our today's topic for 12th class students of history subject is: what do you think were the advantages and disadvantages of enclosed agricultural lands within the fortified area of the city? Dear students, one of the peculiar features, one of the most important features of Vijayanagara was that this city was fortified on all sides. It is believed that there were 7 lines of forts which fortified the city of Vijayanagara. And these forts, these fortifications, not only encircled the city but also its agricultural lands as well. And these fortifications enclosed the agricultural lands where crops were cultivated. So we mean to say that within the fortified area of the city, the agricultural lands were also enclosed in this area. So now the question is, what was the advantage of enclosing agricultural lands within the fortified area of city, and what was the disadvantage of enclosing the agricultural lands within the fortified area of the city? So in short, we can say, what was the advantage and disadvantage of enclosing agricultural lands within the fortified area of the city of Vijayanagara? Let us see advantages. Number 1, the enclosed agricultural lands made it very easy for farmers and cultivators to manage them and organize different activities in such lands, different agricultural activities in such lands. Number 1. Number 2, the enclosed agricultural lands enabled easy irrigation through elaborate canal system. It is believed that the enclosed agricultural lands were easy to irrigate because these were fortified on all sides and there was no chance of loss of water, and also because these fortified lands, enclosed agricultural lands, were provided with the canals adjacent to these lands, to these agricultural lands. So the farmers in these areas had not to do anything for irrigating the lands, as the canals were easily available near those agricultural lands and these agricultural lands are closed. So this easy availability of canals near those agricultural lands and enclosing agricultural lands made the irrigation facility very much easy in these enclosed agricultural lands. Number 3, during medieval times, there were invaders who used to invade cities and areas, and at some times the invaders used to siege or crack down a city or an area for several months and sometimes for years. And thus rulers prepared for such situations. Thus the Vijayanagara rulers prepared for such situations by building large granaries within the fortified areas. And there was every chance of the people who were caught in the siege getting starved, dying of starvation. But the people had already, the people of Vijayanagara, the rulers of Vijayanagara, had made preparations for these things, these problems. How? They had built granaries within the fortified areas of the agricultural lands. And as a result, whenever there was a chance of this siege around the city, the rulers had easy availability of this grain stores in the fortified area, with the help of which they could eat food, they could eat grains, and they had no chance of starvation. Number 4, the encirclement of lands, the enclosing of lands saved these crops from animals and any kind of trespassing from any person or anything, from any trespassing from animals or from humans. Now disadvantages. Number one disadvantage of enclosing agricultural land was that this was a very expensive practice. Enclosing agricultural lands was not easy, it was very expensive, and it was also time consuming practice. Number two was at the time of invasions, at the time of wars, it was very much difficult for the farmers to reach these lands because these lands were at that time completely closed, and no one was allowed to enter into these lands. With the result, the crops would get damaged in this fortified areas, in this enclosed agricultural land areas. Number three, the farmers had to seek permission of the gatekeeper to reach their fields in the fortified area. So, whenever any farmer had to approach his land, to his agricultural land within the fortified area, within the enclosed agricultural area, he had to seek permission from the gatekeeper. If the gatekeeper gave him permission at the gate of the fort, he could be allowed to go in. If he was not given permission, he could not go in. So, the permission, seeking permission from the gatekeeper for going to the agricultural lands was another hindrance or a hurdle in the way of carrying agricultural operations successfully due to the closing agricultural lands. Due to the enclosing of agricultural lands. Number four, if enemy encircled the field, the farmer could not look after their fields. If at times the invaders encircled their fields, encircled the agricultural lands, in the fortified area, it was very much difficult, rather impossible, for the farmers to reach their agricultural lands. So, enclosing agricultural lands had both advantages as well as disadvantages.